Welcome to Fashion Forum with Nellie, in partnership with SA Creatives, shooting live from School of Fashion in Johannesburg. Today's discussion is going to be about authenticity and inclusivity in beauty. So what we are going to discuss today is the discussion of authenticity and inclusivity in beauty, regardless of one's age, gender, skin tone, skin type, culture, or even religion. And today here with me is my guest speaker, Liz, who is also an entrepreneur within the field of beauty. Thank you, Liz, for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. So to get this conversation started, I would like for you to tell me, what do you think authentic and inclusive beauty is?
I think authentic and inclusive beauty is what all of us in our comfort spaces and in our homes, in our comfort zones, place of work, schools, look and feel like. Authentic beauty, I don't think is something that is curated. I don't think it's something you have to cultivate. I think it's something that is already just there, you know. It's about thinking about yourself when you wake up in the morning, thinking about something even as simple as my family structure. There's different skin tones in my household, different body sizes, different hair textures, different personalities. And I think how we're able to accept each other and make room for each other within a household is what feels to me like what authentic beauty should stand for. And I think the reason why we needed to coin terms like authentic beauty and so on is because the world and some of the big platforms that are out there to advocate for beauty have curated a certain look that is considered to be beauty. And I think authentic beauty is going back to the basics.
Yes, definitely. I agree with you, going back to the basics. And I mean, we are already seeing some shift within the beauty industry of brands becoming more inclusive, such as when Rihanna launched her makeup brand, Vendi Beauty, which was inclusive of numerous different types of skin tones. And then also when Gucci launched their campaign, Unconventional Beauty. So that was the name of the campaign. And what it tried to convey through the message is diversity, positive body imagery, and inclusivity by incorporating the model Ellie Goldstein, who is a Down syndrome model. But the problem is that we are not seeing this enough. We are not seeing this on an everyday habit. It is that one time a model got featured because she looks different. So in your opinion, what would you say contributes to this very limited and narrow perspective of beauty? Would you say it's the entertainment industry, the model industry? What would you say contributes to that?
I think a beauty industry, and many other industries for that matter, are a reflection of society. You will see it in beauty, you'll see it in education, you'll see it in food, you'll see it pretty much everywhere. Our society was founded on some principles that were, in my opinion, inequitable. And if the foundations of a society are inequitable, everything else that stems from that is going to follow. And I think when you look at the fact that now we're trying to open up, beauty spaces and commercial spaces to look like a true reflection of society, essentially we're trying to correct some of those, inequities that exist. We just need to be careful that some of these inequities or some of these ways that we address these inequities aren't just following the hype until it dies down and then we let it go. And the reason I'm saying this is because, of course, brands oftentimes want to communicate themselves as aspirational, and of course, especially beauty brands wants to say, oh, if you use this product, or if you use that product, you will be not flawed anymore and you will now become flawless, which is absolutely untrue, right? I think what brands need to start advocating for is to be true reflections of society. Things don't need to be necessarily beautiful or ugly. Let things be as they are. Accept things and people as they are. And create room for every single person to be reflected, in larger platforms, in smaller platforms, in everyday conversations, without necessarily commercializing their isms, or without necessarily commercializing the aspects of them that are so underserved by society, when it serves us and when it's trendy. And by the way, I'm not talking about the campaigns you've mentioned. I really think those are absolutely wonderful campaigns, and I think we need more of those. Yeah. But I also think the reason why we're not seeing them every day, it's like the one brand that does it becomes like a standout, is simply because we have not come to terms with the society we've created and the consequences that that has on various sectors that then stem out of that society.
Oh wow, that was just like mind-blowing. Yes, I definitely agree with you in that aspect. And this also leads to my next question in terms of you being an entrepreneur in the field of beauty and knowing what was the inspiration of your brand, your two brands, Masodi and then Rave Beauty Bar. So what was your inspiration behind those brands? What is it that you wanted to achieve, or the problem that you saw?
Yeah, so I can never talk about the story of Masodi Organics without talking about the story of Good Hair. Good Hair is an entity I had founded with two of my best friends, Ijangolet Ogwang, who's now gone on to be a best-selling author, and Sandisiwe Yengeni, who's now gone on to graduate with her master's degree in development finance and now a management consultant. We started Good Hair as a brand that embodied Black excellence, and Black excellence not in the sense that we were excellent, but to say Black people deserved excellence, and Black people deserved, especially Black women in beauty, deserved a service that saw them, that recognized some of the challenges they have when experiencing beauty services. And essentially, to get your hair braided takes an average of 4 to 5 hours. And that kind of experience then requires a lot of comfort, a lot of cushioning. Do I need to take a day off to do my hair, or do I need to sacrifice my entire weekend, to be able to just braid my hair? Those were some of the challenges that as Black women we encountered, but we also wanted to go on and solve. And of course, for various reasons, that venture didn't succeed. And I then left the venture feeling that there's something there. I think there was still something there. That's when then I decided to go into the beauty business through Masodi Organics, which now focused on beauty products. But again, what inspires me, or what is at the core really of Masodi Organics, is three main things. One is giving, the consumer, whoever this consumer is, by the way, excellent and thoughtfully formulated products, that are not harmful to the body, that are not harmful to the environment, that everyone can look at and enjoy and feel that there's a hint of luxury within that care. A second thing was I wanted to create a brand. Put aside the products. I wanted to create a brand that was going to be, a pioneer, or one of the pioneers of shifting culture within the beauty space, and shifting the standards of beauty, and starting to have realistic and meaningful conversations about beauty and the standards that are there, and how Eurocentric they are, and how unrealistic they are, and sometimes how a lot of the beauty routines are unsustainable, and no one can actually follow through for a good 12 months without falling off the wagon. Can we have these kinds of conversations in a way that resonates with a lot of people, and come up with products and routines and conversations that actually shift the culture that already exists? And lastly, I think you cannot participate in any socio-economic activities in the world today without worrying about the health of the planet, right? Creating products that are sustainable, and I know the word sustainable sometimes is used so carelessly, but creating products that are sustainable, and if by any measure, or in any measure, the products are not sustainable today, holding some sort of clear aspiration of how we're going to walk the journey of curating products that improve over time, in a sustainable lens. The planet is bleeding, every now and then we hear about stories of floods here and this there, and I think it's about time every business, small and large, start taking the sustainability issue and the planet health issue seriously.
Yes, definitely. And I mean, what I also appreciated from discussing the values is almost how you are re-narrating the concept of beauty to almost be limitless in terms of acceptance and kindness and inclusivity, which Also makes me think of Patrick Starr's new launch of the One Size makeup brand, which was then this whole new approach of gender neutral beauty and then gender neutral makeup brands, which does not only focus on the beauty aspect, but also skin care, skin concerns. So what is your thought on this gender neutral beauty campaigns, beauty products? Is it one method to become more inclusive with regards in the beauty space, gender specifically?
I think I hold two truths at the same time, or two views rather, not truths. Two views at the same time on this. One is, firstly, we have to acknowledge that there are some segments of society that have been underserved from a beauty perspective. Yes. And what do I mean when I say that? For the longest time, when you look back at old pictures, there was this old picture of Naomi Campbell walking on the runway with makeup. That just looked so terrible. You can tell that someone put on a lighter shade of makeup on Naomi Campbell that just made her look, a bit. It was not matching her skin tone. So the first view I have is equity requires that we redress some of the underservice that has happened over time and address some of those issues. I have to take a stance for specifically black women because I know that the beauty sector has really underserved them for the longest time. I myself would go into a retail store and try to look for a product, and the aisle will be so limited to just very few options, and then I would go to the other side of the aisle and there would just be options and options across different even economic sort of like affordability levels, where as a black woman the price range was so narrow, this is it, that's it. But then you would find different price ranges because of course there were different segments, the premium segments, the mass segments and stuff, and I didn't feel that I had that. Where am I going with this? I think there needs to be something deliberate about some brands, Masodi Organics being one of them, to try and redress those kinds of underservices that have happened over time. And because of that, I feel partly mandated that I need to uplift the black woman and through the products, through the brands, through the narrative, through the innovation that we're coming up with, to make sure that they level up and we level up the playing field. Secondly, the second thought that I hold is I absolutely love, gender neutral beauty. In fact, Masodi Organics has one of the things we say we stand for, is one of our values, is that we want beauty that breaks walls and that breaks barriers. You should not feel like if you walk into store A, there's something that you're missing when I can walk into the same store and get the same thing. If you and I are besties and we're having a beauty pampering day where we're going on a shopping spree because we just want to buy some beauty products, we have to be able to walk into the same store and I know what products you like, you know what products I like, and then we can enjoy the same kind of like quality, innovation and options and I think same applies to me and my boyfriend, maybe same applies to me and my male besties if I have one. So beauty that breaks walls is absolutely important today because it just addresses some of the inequities. If everyone is using the same product, it's going to be very difficult then to underservice some and overservice others. That definitely makes sense. I really like that approach because specifically with I think with the beauty industry is that the focus have always been on women. The women should look beautiful, wear makeup, colors, lipstick, foundations, even skin creams. I remember my brother, who is much younger than me, whenever my mom just wanted to apply sunscreen on him, he would throw the biggest tantrum of sunscreen are for women or it's for girls. And it's just like a health concern. So I have to say, specifically within Hong Kong, for example, and also in China, there's this large increase in awareness for grooming for men, but not just the grooming of like your basic hygiene and your face wash, really eye creams and face creams and moisturizers and face masks. So I definitely think that specifically in China and Hong Kong, for example, the target market of men are very inclusive in terms of also receiving this beauty approach. So why do you think we are not seeing that same change in the South African context at this time? I'm not quite sure, but I will say some thoughts that are coming to mind. Again, as a reflection of society, I think our a lot of the things that we do are a reflection of where we are, either emotionally or either, just from a acceptance perspective and breaking some of the prejudices that we have as a people. If you look at the fact that, the sense of masculinity, at least in our country, from where things stand, easily gets threatened by any hint of femininity that comes close to the masculinity. From that perspective, then I can empathize with men who are a bit careful of, makeup and grooming themselves in that perspective. I don't think this is something that is unchangeable. I don't think this is something that is, permanent. In fact, my experience is that, as someone who interacts with consumers on a daily basis, I have men who are now starting to use beard oil. It starts very slowly, right? They started using beard oil and now are asking, do you have a cream for us? And now, so boundaries are pushed from time to time incrementally. So you start with the first thing and then they accept it and then you go into the next and on to the next. I think South African men are actually starting to groom themselves way more than they used to. I'll follow a lot of like salons and beauty parlors, especially for men, and you see them like getting massages, getting facials, and of course it's not as mainstream, but I think we're definitely going there.
Yes, no, definitely. So just some funny story that popped in. Was with our wedding. So my husband is in construction and like masculine and the beard and everything. And then I was like, I'm not going to go for a pamper or spa treatments. I'll just do my nails. And he went out the day, and when he came back, the ears were waxed, the nose were waxed, the beard was trimmed, and I was like, what just happened? And I was so shocked, but that should actually be normal. It is a healthy taking care of the body situation. So that is very interesting that we are becoming more consumer friendly to more inclusive of the different genders. So then the next discussion, which I'm quite excited about in terms of your opinions, is with the whole concept, a discussion about race. And in terms of a specific story that I recently saw about Ollie London, who is a British influencer, and he underwent the first surgery, which is now called transracial surgery. So he underwent the brow lift, the temple lift, the chin, the everything, and he is now identifying as Korean because he feels that he is authentic to himself, he is inclusive, beauty should be inclusive. So what are your thoughts on not just surgery and filtering to enhance beauty, but really making that jump of cross-race in terms of portraying your authentic beauty or who you feel or who you are. So even taking into account cultural appropriation, specifically with regards to identifying as another culture which you have not been part of for such a long time.
This is the first time I'm hearing about this, by the way.
Very interesting.
I don't know, the individual that you're mentioning, the influencer you're mentioning. And again, there's two views that I hold at the same time. One is, I'm always very careful to have too much opinion on people's individualistic choices, because on the one hand, there's the macro issue of race, which very much affects everyone and which very much affects me and you and him or her, or they rather. And then there is the individual agency that everyone deserves to have and that everyone actually has or should have, So again, on the one hand, I say, he has agency over, or she has agency, or they have agency over their body, and they can do whatever they want. But having said that, I think that this is very complex, because then there is implications of some of the things we do. For example, is this, a white person going Asian? Is this a black person going Asian? Is this an Asian person? Because Asian is also broad. There's Indian Asians, there's Chinese. What is the transition exactly at the level of granularity? But also, I would have to understand some of the factors that led to this transition, right? A part of me has empathy for people, and this empathy is what requires me to understand the context, understand the backstory before I actually have an opinion.
Yeah.
What is the story? What is, the reason why somebody woke up and say, I feel that I would have a better life experience perhaps as an Asian person. Honestly speaking, this doesn't sound like an opinion, probably because I don't really have a strong opinion right now, because I haven't formulated my thoughts.
Yes. But I mean, it's also interesting to see within this digital age the countless opportunities that we have to enhance our beauty, not necessarily this mindset that many individuals have that makeup is used as a mask or to hide your flaws, but rather an enhancement. And I mean, something that is quite popular now is individuals showing their face before makeup and then showing the face, and then this transition of after the face. And scrolling through the comments, you would see that there are so many comments on calling this person out for being a catfish, in terms of being this person and then doing this magic makeup. However, it's enhancing, not necessarily masking. So what are your thoughts on the term beauty in terms of the natural beauty and then using products? Does it change who you are? Is it the catfish approach? Like, what is the situation?
So Masudi Organics' tagline is beauty on your own terms.
Okay.
And this was very deliberate. I think true beauty in the world is what people want to portray themselves as. I feel that I have no right to say to someone who does not feel good about themselves when they look a certain way, you are wrong for wanting to change some aspects of yourself that make you accept yourself better. I don't think I have that right. But at the same time, my aspiration is that each of us feel good about ourselves when we wake up in the morning. And we, I think, have the right, or we have the liberty to do whatever we need to do, as long as it's not harmful to anyone else, and as long as it's not harmful, hopefully, to us, to make ourselves feel good. If someone shows a picture of themselves before and after, I would not think that's a catfish, because in fact, this is an honest person who says, this is who I am without makeup, and I'm open enough to share that with you. And this is what I look like without makeup, and I'm also open enough to share that with you. And again, even if someone said, I'm only going to show you me with makeup, that is who they want to portray themselves to you as. Who are we to say we reject that? And if they came and showed us who they what they looked like without makeup, what do we achieve from seeing them in that light if they themselves don't feel good about themselves? I think the biggest call to people today in relation to beauty is to let people be. If you don't want to put on makeup, wonderful. If you want to put on makeup, wonderful. What matters to me is that people wake up in the morning and they accept themselves. And if they do not accept themselves, they do what they need to do to get to a level of healthy self-acceptance. Whether they accept how they look naturally, or whether they go out of their way to try and rectify that. And again, I stress that within, as long as they don't harm other people, and as long as they don't harm themselves, I think just let people be.
Yes, definitely. And I also think what I really enjoyed from your comment is the fact that the concept of inclusivity and authentic beauty comes from the audience in terms of being able to accept other people's choices and supporting the choices when it's not harming anyone else. So I think it's definitely the audience and the target market, the society, which we can reverse or almost influence the manner of which beauty is being communicated. So then my next discussion point that I want to have with you is the age perception of beauty. So a lot of times beauty magazines, they showcase individuals usually from like ages between 18 to 35, our young adults, and then it's like once you are over 40, like you're just gone and you just magically disappeared and no one is catering for you. So we have those few brands that will do their commercials of the granny. But I mean, where's that gap of the older individuals? So why aren't we showing that? Why is that generation gap in terms of beauty? Why isn't becoming old deemed beautiful?
Yeah. And I think it's absolutely sad because some of the most beautiful people, and when I say beautiful, I just mean well-rounded, holistic kind of beauty, are more mature people. And I'll say mature in terms of age. You look at some mature people, some older people, as and they seem as though they're so comfortable in who they are, and that they've really come to meet the authenticity of who they are. And I think it's such a shame that brands actually do not use that image that is so comfortable, that is so certain, that is so assured, to communicate what beauty actually does look like in some forms. I suspect that the reason we don't use it much, or that picture much, is because at the core of what is deemed beauty today is, I guess, three things. One is lightness, which is rooted in Eurocentric beauty standard. The lighter you are, the more beautiful you are. Two is thinness. Again, I would tie to Eurocentricity to a certain extent. The thinner you are, the more beautiful you are deemed to be. And I think lastly, it's age. The younger you are, the more tender and the more beautiful and pretty you are. And I think these three things are actually not true, right? And I think it is also probably because the more mature and the more older age groups sometimes are so comfortable in their skin that they're not trying to scream for attention and, hey, look at me, I'm pretty. And they have that generation, because there's again generational segmentations of people, women, men, and all of the people, and everyone else. These generational segmentation mean that there's some behaviors that are more general when you look at just each generation. And I suspect maybe because, the world of beauty is vibrant and it's colorful and it's popping, and I'm not saying older people are not, by the way, there's just a tendency to then connect it to more youthful people or more younger people, which I actually think is not true. So I think it's a missed opportunity because the people that we're excluding actually have money to buy. I think it's a missed opportunity because the maturity, the securedness, and the sense of gravity that the people were sort of like neglecting carry, they can bring a lot of weight within the space. But I also think they have a lot of insight, they have a lot of experience that they can genuinely share with us in terms of even taking care of ourselves and making sure that, we follow the right and healthy beauty routines, we have the right beauty conversations, because they've walked the journey. So I think it's a shame, at the very least.
Yes, definitely. And then also in terms of, so a while ago I saw the just based on your discussion of the three aspects of beauty, I saw this very interesting video clip of the Kardashians in which they were interviewed, and they were asked, do they think that the beauty standards that they are setting are unrealistic? So, I mean, beauty takes time, makeup, hair application, beauty routines, it all takes time. And basically what came from this video discussion of the Kardashians is that they don't feel that their beauty standards are unrealistic because they wake up every day and they do the work. So just in general, I mean, time, family, work, traffic, life in general. So do you think influencers and celebrities out there are setting a beauty standard that is very unrealistic, that almost reflects to the society as the normal people that we will never be as beautiful as them because I can't ever look like that?
I think what probably won't answer your question, but I'm going to answer my own question. What matters more to me is transparency. If the Kardashians are looking flawless at all times, what matters to me is that they are transparent about the process of what goes into looking that way. How they look, the choices they make, that's absolutely their choices. What matters to me is that as a consumer who, is influenced by some of the posts, I drank this tea, and look at my body, it looks pretty. I hope that what we show out there is truly true.
Yeah.
And I think that is what I believe brands, influencers, everyone else should be held accountable on. If you're going to advertise something and you say it worked for me, be transparent about what it did, and I hope that you're telling the truth. And on the other hand, once then that truth is told, I as Liz can say, you know, it takes the Kardashians maybe on average 3 hours a day to get ready. Because of the transparency, I can make a choice for myself and say, do I have 3 hours every day to put into that kind of thing so I can look like the Kardashians? Or do I have a different setup in life and job and aspirations such that I make a different decision? Because at the end of the day, everyone has agency. If they choose to put aside 3 hours a day for their makeup, and I feel that I can't do that, but they have been transparent, I think that's fair game. Where I don't think it's fair game is when people do X, Y, Z, and I'm not insinuating that they did because I don't know what they did or didn't do. If you do X, Y, Z and then you attribute it to something else, that is. But also as an influencer who says to me, I consume this product and this is the result. Then that is not kind. That is inauthentic. It is, and it is also untrue. So I think it's just important for people to tell the truth. But also it's important to know that, you know, these people have teams, right? I as Liz do my own makeup when I wake up in the morning on the days that I choose to do my makeup. And I need to, as an adult, be realistic about the resources that I have, the time that I have, and the amount of effort I'm willing to put in. And some of the decisions I make are on me, and some of the decisions I make where I can put it on someone else as if they portrayed something as something it's not.
Yes, definitely. Also, picking up on your conversation about the ethicalness of beauty, specifically, like, for example, brands showcasing that if you use this shampoo, your hair is going to grow like this long, and then you use the product and it doesn't even grow this long. And I mean, shampoo and condition ads and oils, and then you apply it and it's just like what happened? So specifically with regards to that is the influencers. There's now this whole new rule on Instagram that is coming through in terms of influencers and brands should identify when they are using filters, specifically when it comes to beauty products, to ensure that ethical consideration of showcasing the true result of beauty.
Yeah, I think I personally appreciate that because I think it's important for realistic beauty standards, which is one of the core values of Masuri Organics. Realistic beauty standards are communicated by brands and by influencers, which is why then I think one of the things that we do as Masuri Organics is we will get our consumers, when they post pictures of their progress and stuff, we prefer to share those kinds of stories because that is not a paid ad, and that is also a story of someone who's genuinely sharing their experience with our products. I think it's okay as a brand to say, I don't know if this will grow your hair. Hair growth is a function of three things. One is it's your genetics, which is true. Two is it's the routine that you follow, some of the processes that you follow on a daily basis or weekly basis or however frequently, and also some of the product choices that you make. So of course you cannot say, I'm totally not for use this product and you'll get hair growth. I think it's important for brands like Masuri Organics to be transparent and say, results are a function of three things. It's your genetics, it's your routine that you follow. Despite what product you choose, routine can influence or can affect some of the results you get. And then of course the product choices that you make, because does it have sulfates, does it have parabens that actually are harmful to your body and potentially the environment?
Yes, definitely. And then also, throughout this discussion, we have identified many areas of improvements within the field of beauty, many changes that we would like to see. So my last question to you is, within the specific field that you are in, your specific position, what are you doing to be the change that you wish to see?
Continuous research and development. You come to my bathroom and all you see is unlabeled packaging, bottles and jars of product. At any given point, I probably have like tons and tons, well, not tons in that sense, but lots of products that we're trialing and that we're trying out. Because it's absolutely important for me to keep going back to the products that we made and say, how can we make it better? We have, a wide range of products, body care products and hair care products. I'll say, how can we enhance the foaming of this shampoo or of this body wash, because it's free from sulfates. Sulfates are what's responsible for some of the foaming that you get in the body wash or in soaps and stuff. Because we are free of sulfates, this means that we need to continuously find ways to make it foam more, so that the experience of the product is delightful and is what people are used to, right? So of course, continuous research and development and product development and thinking outside of the box. From time to time I'll sit and I say, what is the one product that I wish I had as a beauty product? Do I want, and then I'll start brainstorming and writing down all these ideas that I have. Some of the ideas I have not seen before, not that they don't exist, I just personally haven't seen before. And it means that then you need to think from scratch with the formulators and with the R&D team to say, how do we bring such a product to life? I don't know if there's a blueprint for it. I don't know if there's something like this before. So the newness then means that some things are going to take time. I also need to constantly question myself, and everyone who's on the Masodi Organics team needs to constantly question themselves and the standards of beauty that we have inherited in the world. Because sometimes it's easy to think, oh no, I'm nailing it, or I'm killing it, or I'm there, in terms of just how progressive my mindset is. But you can never really be there. You always have to question your intentions. You always have to question your standards and what you have accepted as the norm, because the world is continuously shifting and things are continuously changing, and we need to keep growing. And when we grow as human beings, as individuals, then we're able to grow other external ideas as well.
Yes, and I mean, like, even just what you just mentioned, I mean, the continuous growing, and I mean, even just keeping up with the amount of trends and the time. This week this is trending, next week that is trending. So definitely coming into this conversation, I had this limited thought about beauty is just on the surface, and I'm really glad I spoke to you in terms of seeing the mind behind creating beauty products and creating this concept of inclusive and authentic beauty, and sharing products, or even just identifying a need that there is within society and actually doing something about it, which was very inspiring. So thank you so much for your time and your contribution to my program.
Yay, that felt so good.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. That was brilliant.